Thank you for being here to learn more about Murfreesboro City Schools. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to share our school information with our community members who have already made an investment in our schools. As one of the newest principals, but not new to Murfreesboro City Schools, I want to say how grateful I am for the partnerships and support that our community leaders, faith-based organizations, and nonprofits bring to our schools. I am thrilled to see so many of you this morning, our elected officials, our city officials who are with us. Thank you for being here, our MTSU connections, everyone who has taken the time out to be with us this morning. Also, thank you to Murfreesboro City Schools Central Office for being wired to the core and supporting our students and staff.
It is my pleasure to get to introduce you to a few of our Murfreesboro City School principals. I'm sure that you met some of them when you arrived this morning, so if you are a Murfreesboro City School principal, please stand. Truly some of the best of the best. It is an honor to get to work alongside them. They are my peers and they are my friends and they are truly amazing. Truly amazing. I'll step into the mic. I also want to take an opportunity to recognize our school board members. Our school board members have the unique opportunity to lead our district while also supporting staff. If you are a school board member, please stand. And we thank you for being here today. I think that we also have several city council members here today. If there are any city council members, if you will kind of wave at us. Stand. There you are. Thank you for being here. And I think that we might have a state board member here, Mr. Warren Wells. Thank you. And lastly, Juvenile Judge Travis Lampley. Thank you for being here as well. Most of all, I am thrilled to get to introduce you to Mrs. Emily Spencer and this, I'm going to get this right, Irma Siegel. I told her it's a mouthful. Irma Siegel Student Ambassadors. So will those Irma Siegel Student Ambassadors come up, please? I've got their names here, and I do want to recognize them. We have Hayes, Sophia, Victoria, Camilla, Isla, and Reese. And great job greeting this morning, and we're thankful for the work that you are doing. Let's take time to give them one more round of applause. Again, delighted that we could all be here today, and such a big time for Murfreesboro City Schools. So without further delay, I'm going to ask Isla and Victoria to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move it up. I'm not as short as I thought. Good morning. I'm Stephanie Fontaine. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Irma Siegel Elementary.
And I'm Katrina Gannon. I teach kindergarten at Overall Creek Elementary.
We are honored to stand before you as the 2023 District Murfreesboro City Schools Teachers of the Year. Teaching is such a wonderful honor and a privilege that we do not take lightly. In our minds, it is a blessing to be able to make an impact on the next generation. I want all of you in this room to do something for me. Take just a moment, and I want you to think about a teacher who changed your life for the better, one who made an impact on you. All right, we all have at least one of those. The teacher who made an impact on me was Mrs. Allen, my 3rd grade teacher. She was the first teacher who believed in me, and not only did she believe in me, she made me believe in myself. Mrs. Allen instilled in me the confidence to believe that I could do anything I put my mind to. What an influence a teacher has. I hope to be able to make an impact on my students the same way Mrs. Allen did for me.
My kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Buchner, made the largest impact on me. She was so kind and made all of us feel so important. She is the reason I wanted to become a kindergarten teacher. I hope to empower my own students the way that she empowered all of us.
Murfreesboro City Schools has had that same kind of impact on my own family. My 3 sons have all gone through Murfreesboro City Schools. They have had amazing teachers who have believed in them, who have loved them, and who have ignited in them a passion for learning. I'm grateful to be a part of that same Murfreesboro City School family.
Teaching is my second career. When I went back to school to get my teaching license, there was no question in my mind that I was going to teach in Murfreesboro City Schools. MCS is a part of me. I attended Bradley Academy from kindergarten through 6th grade, and I've had multiple nieces and nephews walk through the halls of various Murfreesboro City schools. The impact that these schools and the system have had on my family and myself is tremendous, and I want to be a small part of continuing the legacy of creating lifelong learners and problem solvers.
All right, we're ready to go over the numbers on the slide. All right, we have 13 schools across 15 different campuses, 9,300 pre-K through 6th grade students who are enrolled, and that's the 21st largest in the state. We have 814 certified instructional staff and over 1,900 total employees. We hope that today you get to see a glimpse of some of the fabulous things that we have going on in Murfreesboro City Schools. Our goal is for all children to feel known, safe, challenged, and empowered. We are able to accomplish that by the help of all of you in this room. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your investment in Murfreesboro City Schools and our students.
As you enjoy the upcoming video, pay attention to the smiles that you see on faces, the amazing relationships that you see, and the awesome work that's happening in our schools. It is obvious that the students are at the center of our work. These children are the future of Murfreesboro, and we are in great hands.
My name is Trey Duke, and I am proud to serve as the Director of Schools here in Murfreesboro City. Our school district is filled with not only the most amazing students in all of Tennessee, but also with a dedicated team of teachers, administrators, and support staff at the school and district level who work every day to guarantee that we live out our mission of assuring the personal and academic success of every child. Educating the future leaders of our city is critical work, and we do not take this responsibility lightly. We strive to not only do great things for our students, but to be a school district that leads the way for others. Because we know that when we lead, our students and our families benefit.
My name is Joanna Whitna. I'm one of the farmer educators with Murfreesboro City Schools. I work at Northfield Elementary and Armis Eagle Elementary, and I do direct experience science lessons with every grade at the school where students can come out and see in real life the science standards that they're learning in the classroom.
When I think about academics in Murfreesboro City Schools, the word that really comes to mind is excellence. So we see excellence in classrooms every day. Our kids are doing some phenomenal writing. They are performing at historically high levels across the district. Our teachers and leaders are also really exemplifying high levels of excellence in the classroom. So they are working hard to make sure all kids are served. And we even have gotten a historic grant from the state. So we've got $50,000 to spend over the next 4 years so that we make sure that all students, including those with disabilities, have access to high quality instructional materials in both ELA and in math.
Our educators and administrators are some of the most dedicated, hardworking professionals around. So much so that over the past couple of years, they have received both state and national recognition. Raven Brooks was the 2022 Tennessee Milk and Educator Award winner. Erin Nunley was the 2022 recipient of the Presidential Award for Science. Kim Inglis was the 2022-23 Mid-Cumberland Teacher of the Year. Dawn Barch is currently Mid-Cumberland Principal of the Year finalist. We are so proud of these individuals and their accomplishments, but more than that, we're so proud that they're part of Murfreesboro City Schools.
This is robotics, and so you had to build a robot to compete in a competition. So you have 2 robots in there. They will work together to get as much points and discs as they can.
So we're working together, so we have to collaborate. During the competition, we'd actually negotiate with the team that we're going to be working with, and we'd come up with a strategy.
So this is our engineering design process of our 3-dimensional kidney, because a woman at our school is in need of another kidney.
And we use the app Tinkercad to 3D model the kidney, and we also make some sketch of the kidney and we find online so we can learn more about it.
Students want to come to school, they don't want to miss it. So attendance is better, behavior is down, student engagement is way up.
The City Schools Foundation was chartered in 2005 by a group of business leaders and volunteers really wanting to make an impact on the public school district here in Murfreesboro. We are so blessed. There's not a lot of districts that actually have a foundation. This year, I assume we're going to give around $100,000 to teacher grants and parity grants. Most of those dollars will go directly into the classroom for teachers to really be inventive and to try new things in their classroom to go along with the curriculum that we already provide.
Murfreesboro City Schools is very fortunate to offer a department full of behavior and social emotional staff. In the schools, we are able to offer mental wellness counselors as well as comm coaches who support our schools and our students in gaining the skills that they need to regulate and to help solve their own problems. With these supports, we hope that our students will continue to gain the skills to be successful students, but also successful adults later in life.
In Murfreesboro City Schools, we believe that great schools make great communities, and that our city is better positioned for future success when our public schools are strong, successful, and focused on meeting the needs of all of our citizens. So whether it's through our academic success, our non-academic supports, or the unique learning opportunities that we provide, we are proud of the great work being done in our schools and for our students. This is good work, this is important work, and this is work that will help us ensure everyone associated with Murfreesboro City Schools is known, safe, challenged, and empowered. We are thrilled to have you here today. Thank you for being here, to our school board, to Chairman Campbell. Thank you for being here, and the rest of our school board for the support they give. I sit in state meetings with directors all the time, and very rarely do I leave one of those meetings and am I not so thankful for the community of our school board, for the heart of our school board, and for a school board that is truly dedicated to doing what's best for kids every day. And I am so thankful for them and that I get to work with them. But today is really about giving you just a sneak peek into what we're about in Murfreesboro City. So I hope you saw a little about that in our video, whether it's our Farm to School program, our STEAM program, our emphasis on high quality instruction for every student. We want to take a time so you as the community members, the leaders in our city, know the great things happening in the 15 campuses across this district, in the 9,300 students who walk into our doors every day, or the almost 2,000 employees who come to work to make sure that the future of Murfreesboro is strong. We are so incredibly proud of the work that we're doing, and we wanted to take this moment to really show you the great things going on so you know what's happening in those buildings, and then hopefully to answer some questions you may have as well. So as we think about it, I never talk about Murfreesboro City without starting here, and that's our mission statement. The mission of MCS is to assure both the personal and the academic success for every child in our district. And when we do that, we always talk about our circle of supports. And that's how we think about the work we do in this district. And that is, at the heart of everything are our students. Everything we do circles around, and it really encompasses how do we make sure that the core of our work, which is our students, gets better every day. And right outside that core are our principals, our school support staff, and our teachers who are in our buildings every day doing the work. And we always say, if we want to talk about district improvement does not come by making the outside of that circle stronger, which is our central office staff. The way we improve a school system is when we improve the core, and we make every experience for a child better every day, and that's what we're about here. You heard about our numbers, right? 13 schools across 15 campuses, 9,300 students, but let's talk about what those students, who those students are that are in our district. We are very diverse, of course, in size. We have small schools, we have large schools. Our smallest school is a little bit over 330 students. Our largest school is well over 1,000 students that we have in several of those as well. You can see our demographics there as the district and how our demographics look in the city. You're seeing, as you look at that, I always like to point this out, and I tell people it's really important for us to understand that the majority of the students we serve in this district are minority students, and we have to make sure that we're meeting those needs as we continue to see our demographics change in our city. From an economically disadvantaged perspective, about 1 in 3 of all of our students are considered economically disadvantaged, which means they're receiving some sort of government support in our district, and over half the students in our district actually qualify for free and reduced lunch. So very diverse in size, very diverse in makeup, very diverse in economic level. And finally, our English language learner population continues to grow. Currently, 13% of our students are English language learners, and 19%, which is right at 1 out of every 5 students in our district, has a home language other than English. As of earlier this week, I pulled some numbers, and we have over 47 different languages that are spoken in Murfreesboro City schools. So we think we're stronger because of our diversity. We feel like that makes us a better city, and we want to make sure we're meeting the diverse needs of our population. And currently, if you saw on the back table, something we're very proud of is our board has adopted a 5-year strategic plan. We are now 2 years into that plan. We are making great progress on it, and it's something we're really excited about. And I would encourage you on your way out, if you need some fun reading over the next weekend, to grab that and take a look at it. But in that plan, we have over 37 goals that we're trying to reach, broken down into 4 categories. You've heard it said, and you'll hear it said again, in Murfreesboro City, we want everyone to be known, safe, challenged, and empowered. And when we talk about known, what we're saying is these are the goals to make sure we're meeting those non-academic needs of our students, to make sure we're supporting our students not just academically, but that they have a full experience and they get those personal successes as well. When we think about safe, obviously, we want every child in our building to be safe, every staff member to be safe. I have 2 students, one's in high school, one's in middle school, and I want them to learn to be their best. I want them taking high-level classes. I want them prepared. But at the end of the day, what I want more than that is the child that I drop off in the morning to come home to me in the evening. And we take safety very seriously because we know every parent wants that. When we think about being challenged, we're talking about our educators, that every child is challenged by a highly effective educator and has experiences with highly effective employees. And finally, when we talk about empowered, we're talking about really what the core of our work is, which is academic success. Our job is to make sure that the future of Murfreesboro is strong and that our children and our students are growing academically. I say all the time, we don't build schools so that our employees have somewhere to work. We build schools so that our students grow academically, and we take that responsibility very seriously. So as we look back at the last year, we have a lot of successes, and I want to take a minute and just talk about a few of those successes. First of all, from an operational standpoint, some things that we are really proud of. If you don't know, we are at 15 campuses, and I can't say again thank you enough to our city council for opening up this year our latest campus, which is our Cason Lane Pre-K. I said, the joke I've been saying is I called some people at the city and said, hey, I need a bicycle. And they came back and said, how about a Harley Davidson? Because that's what I got, right? I said, I need a couple rooms so we can add some pre-K. Do you have any ideas where I could put 1 or 2 pre-K classes? And they came back and said, how about this? And I'm thrilled to say that a few months ago, we opened our Cason Lane Pre-K Annex, which is 8 pre-K classrooms on the west side of town. This is extremely important because it's giving our parents on the west side of town more access to pre-K, which they did not have, both for our special education students and for our students of poverty. And it has also freed up much needed classroom space throughout the other schools. So we're so thankful to open that building. We've also had a lot of successes in the community operationally. One of our goals has really been to give some of our buildings some facelifts, whether it's painting our hallways. We do have buildings of varying ages. We have some buildings that Salem was opened in 2019, and Mitchell, Nilsson, and Reeves Rogers were significantly before that. So we know that we want to make sure we're taking care of our buildings so every student walks into a building that is a welcoming environment. One of the ways we did that this year, if you drive around town, maybe you notice that some of our schools had some old tennis courts that haven't been maybe used very much through some grants. We have started redoing those. We've gotten Irma Siegels and Cason Lanes done. In the next 3 years, all of those will be redone. I tell the story, I took my son right after Cason Lanes was finished. I said, hey, let's go play some pickleball on a Saturday. And we pulled up, and there were probably on a Saturday at 2 in the afternoon, probably 20 kids playing basketball, playing pickleball. I said, we'll come back maybe another day, right? But it's not just it's benefiting our students, it's benefiting our community as well. We're really proud of the work we've done in transportation. It doesn't take much to turn on the news and see a story about the transportation woes going on in this country with school buses. Whether it's districts having to down routes, whether it's districts having to cancel bus transportation. And we know this is a national problem and something that we tried to be very proactive about. So last year we sat down as a team and we said, we know this is coming. What can we do to provide reliable transportation to our parents every day? What are the moves we can go ahead and make? And we went to our school board, and that involved changing some bell times. It involved kind of increasing some parent responsibility zones. But I'm thrilled to say, in a time when every district is having to down bus routes, that we haven't had to do that all year. And I'm going to claim today we're not going to have to, but we're going to keep trying. And of course, with our safe schools. We have a great partnership with MPD. We are so thrilled for that partnership. We've hired our own full-time safety and security person in our district to make sure, again, that every child is safe every day. We've put a large amount of local funds and additional grant dollars into making sure that we have access control. We know who's coming into our building, and every child is safe every day. Also, when I think about operational success, I got to think about the budget, right? And we think about these are your schools, these are your tax dollars, and we again take that very seriously. We know that our taxpayers want a return on their investment. That when they give money, whether it's through property taxes or sales tax that goes to our schools, that they get something back. A few years ago, we really began to look at that and said, how do we make sure that we are prepared for the future? We know now that technology is not something you buy once and you don't pay again for 20 years. That's an ongoing cost, almost like a textbook. We're always replacing computers. We know, again, that we have some aging buildings that need some facelifts and just some nice to haves, right? You got to replace a roof, but it's also just really nice to repaint a building. It's also really nice to put a new playground in. So I'm thrilled to say that in the last 3 years, we have increased our unassigned fund balance by over $7.5 million, which is almost double what we had 3 years ago. So we're excited about that. And because of that, we're very excited that our board is looking at and extending and adding a front office addition to Reeves Rogers Elementary. Thank you, Martha. That's right. We heard you, Martha. Martha has been an advocate for this and saying she's a great community partner to say this is a safety concern, this is about keeping our kids safe, and it's about treating our teachers in that building with the respect they need and deserve. And we couldn't agree more. And because we've worked so hard to build that fund balance, to use your taxpayer dollars, we're going to be able to fund that completely out of our budget, and we're really excited about that and that work starting hopefully in the fall. We've also had a lot of success with our student supports, and those are those non-academic success. You heard us talk about our mental health programs. We know that mental health has taken really a rise since COVID, and it's something we have to be aware of. We know that if we're not careful, if we don't meet those needs, the academic goals are never going to happen. So in our 5-year plan, we set a goal that by 2027, we would have a full-time mental health counselor in every school 5 days a week to help meet those needs of students, whether it's through small groups, individual counseling. We know that students have traumatic events in their lives. Some go through divorces. We know some have deaths of a parent or other adverse childhood experiences that impacts them, and we want to support them. What I'm thrilled to say is because of, again, the great work of our team, that this year we have those mental health counselors in 12 of our 13 schools, 5 days a week, a full 3 years before our plan, and we're very excited about that. We always say mental health is a long-term goal, that when we pull kids for counseling or we pull kids and parents say we want our child to receive these services, we may not see the fruits of that labor for 6 months or a year. And we also know there's some immediate needs with behavior. So our board also made it a priority to fund what we call CALM coaches, which are staff specifically designed to help intervene for students who are having behavioral challenges. And we have that this year in every school, which again is not just a benefit to our students, it's a huge benefit to our teachers as well. And in a time when teacher retention is again a national concern, we know offering those mental health supports, offering behavioral supports, doesn't just help our students in the moment, it helps keep staff members in the building and doing the great work they do. And finally, we've had a huge emphasis on making sure our students are at school. We know that chronic absenteeism is another barrier we face, and beginning last year, we really took a hard look at that. And I'm thrilled this year to say that we had a 3.6% decrease in chronically absent students from the year before. That means we have more students coming to school every day, and that's been a real focus of our schools. Mr. Rocha, who couldn't be here this morning for another engagement, shared with our board on Tuesday night as we looked at our first period data. At this time last year, we were sitting at over 20 students who were already in that chronically absent range. And as of Tuesday night's presentation, we were at 2. That's incredibly important work. Kids have to be in school to get this work done. And then finally, academic success. That's what we're here for. As we begin to look at what's happening academically in our district, we continue to be thrilled with the trajectory we're on. You heard on the video Dr. Presnell talk about that focus on high quality instruction in every classroom every day. That's led by our principals who make that their mission as well. And because of that, we're seeing the fruits of that labor, which means at the end of the day, more students are prepared for the future and to be successful when they leave us. So what does that look like? We have a huge focus on early literacy. We know that reading is the way that we're going to make sure all students are prepared, and that doesn't start in 5th grade, that starts in kindergarten. So we look specifically at 1st grade, and are we decreasing the number of students who require intensive at-risk supports in reading in 1st grade? And I'm thrilled to say last year alone, that percentage decreased from 22 to 23 by over 3.5% decrease in those at-risk students, which we're very proud of. When we look at science, we want to focus on that. We know that's important work as well. We've seen in science over a 5% increase in science proficiency over 2 years, which means we're also outperforming the state average. Great work being done by our teachers. When we think about science, you heard about STEAM, which again is a focus for us in our district. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And really what that is about is making sure that our students are having real-world experiences every day that's going to prepare them for the jobs of tomorrow. And in Tennessee, you can earn a STEM designation from the state, which is an incredibly hard process, involves multiple school visits, involves really showing that you are doing the work. One of the things that makes our district unique is that we don't save STEM for middles and high schools. We started in kindergarten, and our kids every day are working through the engineering process. And I'm thrilled to say that Murfreesboro City, as of this year, has 9 of our 13 schools that have that STEM designation, which put us at the highest percentage of STEM designated schools of any district in the state of Tennessee. And we're incredibly proud of that. That's right. One of my passions and one of the things I'm deeply committed to is literacy and raising our reading rates. Again, I think it really is the civil rights issue of our time, that every child deserves the ability to read. And I've said it to my staff before, and I keep saying it, if we do nothing else, we must teach children how to read. That's what we're about in Murfreesboro City, and we've had a huge focus on that, which is why I am thrilled to say in the past 2 years, we have increased our proficiency in English language arts by over 8%, right? A 2-year gain that shows we are on the right track, which that equates to hundreds of more students who are proficient in reading than were 2 years ago. We see similar aspects in math, when we're looking at over a 7.5 increase in math over the last 2 years. And once again, outperforming the state in every area. We're incredibly proud of the work because this doesn't just show our teachers are focused on the right things, but at the end of the day, it's hundreds and hundreds of more kids who are walking into school and going home every day who are proficient in ELA, math, and science and are better prepared for whatever the next chapter of their life is when they leave Murfreesboro City schools. With that, I'm thrilled to say we just announced another piece we look at is value-added growth. The highest distinction you can have is to be considered a level 5 school in the state with value-added, and 6 of our schools earned that designation this year, which is incredibly exciting. Huge shout out to Bradley's 2nd year in a row earning that, and a huge shout out to Black Fox. I call them our 3-peat winners. That's 3 years in a row that school has been awarded level 5 status, which is an incredibly hard thing to do, and we're so proud of that work. So, what do we want? What are we about? This is our mission at central office as we lead our district. At the end of the day, we want excellent learning for every student in our district. We want every child, regardless of their economic background, regardless of their ethnic or racial background, every child to be highly successful. We know we can only do that when we have excellent teaching in every classroom. And we're going to support our teachers and make sure they're well prepared. We know we only get excellent teaching when we have excellent principals who are acting as instructional leaders. They're the ones doing the work in the building. And we only get excellent principals when we have a central office system that we say is wired to the core to supporting our principals and getting this job done. That's what we're committed to, not just for our students. That's what we're committed to for our community. That's what we're committed to for this city. And we are so proud of the work, and we are so glad you can hear about it. So again, one of our favorite quotes, right? All students can learn. Everyone can say that. In Murfreesboro City Schools, we say all students will learn because of what we do. We take it. We know they will learn when we do those moves. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for hearing about it. And at this time, I'm actually going to transition over, and Lisa's going to come up, and we're going to maybe take a few questions you have and have a quick panel. So with that,
Get a different microphone.
all right. And I'm going to ask Mr. Barch, our current State Principal of the Year finalist, now Assistant Superintendent, to join me, as well as Sherry Arnett, who is our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, to join me as well.
I may just hold this. So think about your questions, but I made a few up in advance just in case you couldn't think of one. Martha, thank you for your cheering today. Yeah, that's what happens when community members speak. We listen. As you guys kind of come up, because we're going to need you to use this mic for the TV's sake, and I'll try to stay over here so I don't have that reverb. Any questions that you guys want to start with, or would you like for me to start? Okay, I'll begin. All right. Dr. Duke, this is for you. We've heard about all of our successes. can you tell us about a few challenges that the district is seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're so proud of the successes, but we do have challenges. Every district has challenges. Every district has things they're working through. One of the challenges we're really facing, though, are really more national educational challenges and less specific to Murfreesboro City Schools. So whether it's teacher retention, whether it's transportation, these are things that every district in the state is dealing with, but we want to lead in that. So, Mr. Barge, why don't you talk a little bit about transportation and kind of where we are with that?
Well, as Dr. Duke mentioned in his presentation just a few minutes ago, was done a lot of proactive thinking and trying to prevent significant issues, and so far we haven't had to drop any routes, and that's a big thing, and we want to get students to school, and have a few meetings next week to just keep planning and trying to stay in front of that, because it is an issue. We changed bell times, and we're training our bus aides to be drivers. We even have a lawyer that's a driver. So, people are stepping up all over. And one of the great things I got to see about this morning, I stopped off at one of the schools about 5:30 and watched those drivers and how much they care about what they're doing. It was getting ready. They got to check their bus just like a pilot does to check their plane before they go. And so it was fascinating to see those folks, and they didn't know I was watching. It was kind of fun. But anyway, lots of things that the district has done, and a commitment to getting children to school on time is one thing we were struggling with last year, and we're doing that this year. So and ridership is up. More kids need a ride to school, and we're low on drivers. So it's been an extra fun challenge to be successful, and I'm proud of our drivers and the district.
And I will say, if anyone wants to be a bus driver, we do train. There is a sign-on bonus and a retention bonus, and we will train you how to drive a bus. So keep that. I think another challenge we have really is about teacher recruitment. And we know that there are less educators going into the field. So once again, we are a growing district. We have more students and a smaller pool of educators. So we've tried to look for some really unique ways of how do we build that up. Maria Johnson, if you want to come up just for a second. Maria is our Director of HR and Educator Effectiveness, former principal of Scales Elementary, and her focus is really about making sure we have a qualified teacher in front of every student. Here's what we know. We always want to do what's best for kids. And the best thing we can do for kids is to put a healthy, supported, and well-trained adult in front of them every day. That's what our focus is. And we're going to talk about some of those things we're doing.
Yeah, most definitely. And as Dr. Duke said, we're using every available option that we have to get high-quality educators in every classroom. One of the options that we have that we've been doing is we have partnered with Middle Tennessee State University to develop an alternative non-degree licensure pathway that leads to a K-5 teaching license in the state of Tennessee. So we offered this to our classified staff who had a 4-year degree. So they can work through this program and at the end of it have a teacher licensure. And we have already employed each one of those employees this year. Another option that we used was the state of Tennessee passed a new law that we can employ student teachers in their last residency. And we have worked and are thankful for MTSU also for partnering with us on this as well. So we have utilized some of their student teachers as well on clinical practice permits in our classrooms. And then also the state of Tennessee is continuing to allow us to hire retired educators and bus drivers. So they can come back and earn a full salary as well as earn 70% of their retirement. So again, if you're out there and you're retired, we would love to recruit you to Murfreesboro City Schools. Just give me a call. But again, we are working to make sure that all of our positions are filled. And currently, again, we are filled. All of our classrooms are filled with high-quality educators. And again, we're going to continue to do that for our community.
A huge shout out to MTSU. I can't thank them enough. She talked about the MT Alt program, and we went to them, I guess about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and said, we have a lot of people who are working in our school system who have 4-year degrees, maybe in business, maybe in marketing, and they don't have that teaching certificate. Can you help us do this in a cost-effective and expedited way? And they came to us and they worked with our team, came with a great program. We are so thankful for that to help get those employees their teaching certificate, get them into a classroom and do that great work. So great things going on there. So we think about transportation, we think about teacher numbers. Those are two of the major challenges we have. And finally, mental health supports. As we said, we've seen that increase in that. We know we have to address it. We're so thankful for organizations like the United Way, who has helped fund through grants those positions to help sure we have those staff in our building and have those accesses available to our students, which has just been exciting.
Okay, that was one question. So, I'm going to let Ms. Arnett come to the podium and take it away from Dr. Duke a second. We really talked a whole lot last year, and we're continuing to talk about mostly internally versus community. Last year about third grade. So third grade retention law kind of hit us all by maybe not surprise, but a little bit harder than we expected. But talk about how your team overcame and what you did last year.
Okay, that's a great question. So the intent of the law was really about ensuring that all students who were at risk of not reading on grade level had support through interventions or increased academic time. And that is something that we have prioritized in MCS for many years. So it didn't really change our program, but what it did allow was for us to have lots of conversations with our families. I am happy to say that 78% of our last year's third graders were eligible for promotion based on their literacy TCAP score, a retest score, or an exemption. And of those who were not eligible to be promoted, we were able to work with families to identify a promotion pathway for all but 0.5% of our third graders. And some of that was actually parent choice that just said we want to give it another year. Okay. So very proud of that work.
Very proud. Fourth graders still on target.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
The promotion pathway, you want to talk about that fourth grade as well, what we're looking at this year?
So right now, those students that were placed on a promotion pathway are actually going through tutoring, year-long, high-dosage, low-ratio tutoring during the school day that is being provided by our teachers and educational assistants. Okay. So again, very proud of that.
And we're starting the process all over again.
Absolutely.
So
Lots of communication.
A lot of communication with parents, a lot of communication with our teachers. We have our new our parent-teacher meetings coming up, so a lot of third grade conversations still going, and will continue to go because it's not just one-year law. We're going to continue with this pathway, and now the conversation is shifting a little bit to those fourth grade parents to make sure they understand what's expected of their student as well. So, anything else to add on that one?
No, we just look forward to another great year of informing parents and making sure they're aware of the process.
Okay, any questions from the crowd? Because I can keep on going. I've got 10 more minutes. Okay. So I'm going to go to Mr. Barch, maybe, or Dr. Duke. You can take it either. I'm looking around and I see our Murfreesboro Police Department. We are so proud of them. Can we just all give them a hand for what they do for us? So, we have the mental health, we have transportation, and then we have the ever ominous kind of conversation about security in our school. So, Mr. Barch, can you just kind of take that one for me and tell, Dr. Duke touched on it a little bit, and I don't know if we introduced Andy earlier. Andy Taylor is over our security for Murfreesboro City Schools, and we're so glad to have him. He's our turn-to guy now. We do a phone call. Sergeant Shannon will continue to have phone calls from me, but I bet my phone calls to her have decreased by half now, so they just always go to Andy. But let's talk about security and what we're doing to make sure when our kids come to school, they're safe.
There's a lot of things that are in place. I'm not going to go into specifics about it right now, but Andy's been doing a great job, and the fortunate thing is Murfreesboro was kind of ahead of it because of the Murfreesboro Police Department. We were already ahead of all of the things that unfortunately happened because of Covenant last year, but it's been a fantastic process and a great collaboration on getting all kinds of feedback from different kinds of people because you have law enforcement's perspective on some things, and then you have education perspective on it, and then how to merge that is more difficult than you think. And getting how to function on a daily in the building daily, and how it works in a classroom and how it works in the hallways and arrival and dismissal, and then that constant safety that's there. And personally, I believe having a SRO in the building is one of the best things that we can do to ensure the safety of our children and things going on during the school day. So we've got a lot of security measures that are in play, and very soon we'll be doing some upgrades of different aspects of that security, and we're very excited about that. The state's helped us, but we've also had a great commitment of local dollars and in our budget to expand what we need to do. And oftentimes safety things, safety items or upgrades are not cheap, and so it's a process. And Andy's been doing a great job actually coming from law enforcement, coming from Murfreesboro Police Department, and working with us in that collaboration.
Yeah. So I think that we can't say enough about the fact that our chief of police, before we ever had to ask, said, we will guarantee an SRO in every building at all times. And Chief, I just have to say, like, without asking for that to come through is amazing, because there's so many other school districts that really struggle with that, having that collaboration. And Dr. Duke, you're antsy, I can tell.
No, I was just going to say that, the state just released a huge grant to help pay for an SRO in every building, and we were light years ahead of that because of the commitment of our chief, because of the commitment to make sure there was there. We always, after every tragedy, our team always circles up and said, what did we learn from this, right? Whether it was Uvalde in Texas, whether it was Covenant shooting, what did we learn? What do we need to change? What do we need to address? We do that all the time with MPD. And of course, the school resource officers, that's been a commitment for the governor, and I'm so thankful that we already had that in place. But what we also had in place was many districts that had school resource officers were paying for that out of their school budget. And I would sit with directors across the state saying how much money they were committing out of their school budget that was coming from our city, Murfreesboro Police Department budget already. So it wasn't coming from our budget, which allowed us to focus on what we want to focus on, which is instructing students. So we're so thankful for that partnership. We take that job of security seriously, and we're always looking at how we can get better at that.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up a little bit, but don't go away. We have lots of, question, yes. I'll repeat it if you yell it.
I can yell pretty loud. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Important question. So, all my boys, all 4 of them, went through Murfreesboro City Schools, started in 1998 at Black Fox, and the school is still standing, luckily.
Go Chiefs.
The question is, over the last 25 years, to educate a student between city dollars, state dollars, federal dollars, county dollars, for a taxpayer in the city or county, has that stayed about the same? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? And the second part of that, at the state level, they're actually toying with not taking federal education funds. And if that were to happen, how would that affect us as a city and as a county?
Wow, okay. Well, let me repeat that. So we're talking about in the last 25 years, tax dollars going towards schools. That's how much local tax dollars are actually going towards schools versus 1998, 25 years ago. My child also Black Fox. Second part of that is, if the state doesn't take the federal dollars like they're discussing, how does that affect our budget for schools? Is that a good summary?
That's a good summary.
Okay, thank you.
So, and Mr. Maxwell, I should have pulled the exact numbers, because I love to talk about numbers, so I'm going to do some estimates here to think about that. But when we think about where our funding comes from, we really have a couple major pots of funding. This year, our general purpose budget is about $104 million. So we crossed that $100 million mark this year in Murfreesboro City Schools. The largest part of that actually comes from the state of Tennessee through what used to be called the BEP program, now through the TISA funding. That's about a little over $50 million of that is from state funds allocated for education. The second major part of that $104 million actually comes from your county property and sales tax, and the proportional share we get for educating over 14% of the students in Rutherford County. So your property taxes that you pay in the city and in the county, your sales tax. So please, while you're here, get an extra cup of coffee. It helps us if you run by Starbucks. That's the second largest point. That has, obviously, as our city has grown, those amounts have increased. And then we also receive a sizable contribution each year from the city as well into our general purpose budget just to help run our school system as well. So those are the kind of main pieces of money we have from the state and local level. On the federal level, we have quite a bit, and this is where I'm going to estimate a little bit. I think this year we're sitting over $12 million in federal funds outside of that 104, but I'm going to find that exact number for you, Mr. Maxwell. So we do rely on federal funds. We have a number of positions in our district, probably close to probably 50 to 70 positions in our district that are funded through federal dollars. A lot of the grant programs we do come from the federal government. So when we hear conversations about pulling that federal funds away, my first question is, okay, who's going to replace it? Because we depend on that and have depended on it. 8 of our schools are Title I funded schools because of the percentage of economically disadvantaged students they receive, that they serve. And those Title I funds are additional federal dollars on top of state and local to help meet the unique needs of a very diverse and challenged population. So we do need those money. It would impact us. So again, the question we'll be asking a lot is if it goes away, hopefully the state has a plan to replace those dollars.
School nutrition dollars, federal dollars?
School nutrition dollars are also federal dollars. You saw our Farm to School program. We are incredibly proud of Farm to School, right? Every school has a farm. We're getting kids in the garden, doing science, hands-on. We're serving those vegetables in our cafeteria. We're serving that food. If you want to have a good time, go spend a day with Farmer Joanne or Farmer Carrie. They work all the time doing that. So our school nutrition dollars, that is 100% federal. Our school nutrition dollars are.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Hi, Laura Clark. Dr. Duke mentioned 19% of students are English learners, and that's approaching 1 out of every 5 students. What are some successes Murfreesboro City has had in teaching children who are learning English, and what are some obstacles?
So, Sherry, I may pull you up here in just a second to this. Well, so I want to clarify that number. 13% are classified as English language learners this year. 19% have a home language other than English. So just want to clarify that. We do have students who have home languages other than English that are not in our English language learner program. We've seen a lot of success academically with them. That data for this year is still embargoed by the state. It hasn't been released. But one of the things that we measure is the state sets benchmarks for are we growing those students who are coming to us not speaking English as their native language. We are excited to talk about those scores when they're unembargoed. I'll leave it at that. So we are excited about that. But one of the big connections we've had is making sure that there is a connection between what is happening when they get pulled out for those English language services and what's happening in their classroom. So over the last few years, we've really had this emphasis on using those same high quality materials to do a lot of front loading. So all of a sudden, before a student is talking about the Revolutionary War in their 4th grade classroom, they've had conversations and they've learned that vocabulary and built that background knowledge in their English language learner classroom, and now they're fully participating in the classroom. And that's something I hear a lot from principals and teachers about, hey, our kids, they're participating. They're not just sitting in a classroom, they're active participants, and we're really excited about that. Probably challenges is, of course, we have a ratio. We need to have 1 ESL teacher for every 35 English language learners in our district. And so as those numbers continue to rise, that is a stress on the system of finding those high quality English language learner teachers to serve those multilingual students. Do you want to add to that, Ms. Arnett?
So I will just say, as Dr. Duke said, we are really proud of the work that we're seeing between the collaboration of the gen ed teacher, the regular classroom teacher, and the ESL teacher. One thing that we watch weekly are those numbers, because we are still currently enrolling a lot of students. So making sure that we are at that 1 to 35 ratio of direct serve students. And again, finding those high quality teachers. But we are very proud of the success we are seeing. And I'll just say there is more to come on that.
So obviously we're very excited to share our embargoed data once it's unembargoed, but I did have to have a conversation with Dr. Duke last night saying, we're doing this live on TV, so you cannot share embargoed data. So hopefully we'll have better answers for you soon. Anyway, any other questions from the crowd? Okay. I want to wrap it up, but I want to wrap it up with the fact that we do have lots of community members here. So what do you need from them? How can our communities be more involved in our schools?
You know, I think really what we want from you is just to know what's going on in our buildings. That's really what this is about. We want you to know who we are. So when you drive by that school, through a school zone, when you're late and the yellow lights are flashing, our friends at MPD would thank you for slowing down and taking care of our kids. But just know that there's great things going on inside that building. And there's really, at the heart of this are, over 800 teachers in this district who come to work every day committed to making this city better. Because we know, and I say it all the time, that fourth graders that are in that classroom are one day going to be running for city council. They're one day going to be running for school board. They're one day going to be opening up a business and asking to start a business here in our community. And we want them, like so many of our community leaders, to look back at their time in Murfreesboro City Schools and say, I am better because of what this city gave to me, and I am better because of what they invested into me. That's what we're about. So what we need from you, well, a couple things. One, tell our story. Let your friends know when that there are great things going on. Help everyone to understand that we need to be proud of our city schools. If you want to be involved, we want you involved. We are always looking for community partners through our STEM program. You saw a little bit of STEM in the city, a great way to come and actually, work with kids. Julie's done it a couple times. I see Julie back there. She's a great one to come and work with our students. So whether it's through community partners, whether it's through just knowing what's going on in our schools and really advocating for us, that's what we need from our community. But with that being said, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you. I know your schedules are all very busy, all very packed. So for taking an hour out of your day to come and listen to us, we really appreciate that. Thank you to my team. We have a great school system because I have great people who walk alongside me every day who are focused on getting the job done for kids. So with that, we hope you have a fantastic day. And we're going to turn it over to Lisa because we're going to
close it out.
That's right.
On the STEAM video, I did write down one of the girls that was being interviewed. She said that they were collaborating, negotiating, and finding a solution on the robotics. So that's what we want to do with you. We want to collaborate, negotiate, and find solutions. On your table, there is the By the Numbers flyer, and if you don't have one, we have more at the back. There is a QR survey. We really want your feedback. Not only things about this session, about just a good opportunity for you to say, how about this? What about this? Give us your feedback. Give us good or bad. We take those and we really listen, and we try to really put those as part of our plan. We are redoing our strategic plan. Not redoing, I'm sorry. We're updating our strategic plan because we are almost 2 years into it, and we have met so many of our goals that we want to challenge ourselves with more goals. So right now, we really want your feedback on just what can we do? What can we? How can we collaborate with you and with the community? So that said, you can do your known safe,
That's
and
right.
I'll let you close.
Well, there you go. So thank you. You got a QR screen there. Thank you for being here. And again, our goal: everyone in Murfreesboro City known, safe, challenged, and empowered. Thanks for helping making that happen. Have a great morning.